Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve. Coming with me, the new hosts, co-hosts of Analog Jones. We've got Chris and Brad, and we're a VHS podcast that looks at the box art trailers behind the scenes. Chris, what is that stylish hat you got on there?
It's my buddy's band.
What is
It's
it?
Everlasting Light.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty
All right.
good. It's metal.
Oh, is it
Excellent.
Christian metal?
I don't know. I can't understand it. Probably not. Christian
It's
metal was huge here.
oh well in Iowa. I mean, we don't know where you're from.
Well, I'm not from Iowa, so we're
Well,
good.
yeah. That's true, technically. Technically, I'm wrong. And then Brad, what kind of hat you wearing here?
Just throwing it back to our Aspen Extreme episode. Our buddy Ski Matt got this for me after listening to the episode. So you say we don't get paid for this, but this is what I got for a
You're
gift.
getting
So
gifts.
yeah,
You're getting swag.
It gets you bought in.
Yeah,
You just send boxes upon boxes of VHS to somebody.
it does. Yes. Well, yeah, but then you turned out to have a personality. You weren't like one of these people that have been like, "I really like that movie. It was good." Ooh, quite the personality on you. You know who you are out there. It's okay. Not all of us are meant to talk on podcasts that no one listened to. All right, we're continuing our Halloween franchise, and we've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Now, Chris, when's the first time you ever saw this?
I didn't really remember that I watched it, but I've seen it a few times.
Oh
It's
yeah,
probably young was the first time I watched it. I grew up on horror movies.
yeah. So more of like a high school thing.
No, I had an aunt my aunt, my stepmom loved horror, so I grew up on it. I was
Okay.
like 5 years old watching Hellraiser.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no,
so,
not
like, I don't really know when I've seen some of these, and then I'll watch it, and I'm like, "I do remember the chili cook-off scene."
He ruined like 2 suits in that scene when I
no,
listened to
it's
the
just
commentary.
it's just
It's
spilling all over him. Yeah,
yeah, it's like because they couldn't get the grease out and everything like that, so they had to keep getting them new jackets.
that's what happens when you cook up humans.
That's
Real
true.
greasy.
Yeah, real fat. Brad, when's the first time you saw this?
Last night.
Oh,
Oh, fresh.
nice,
I
nice.
like that. Those are some fun takes. I first saw this. This is a late one for me. I want to think like late in high school, in the middle of the night, and it was on I don't know HBO or something like that, and it just came on. So I had no idea what to expect because one, I kind of didn't know there's a number two. I was like, what? This is when I found out, like like there's like a Roadhouse too, and it comes on TV, and you're like, what? They made a second one?
There's a Roadhouse too?
Oh, oh. Oh, it's something. It ain't good.
Oh, is that the one with the monster trucks?
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember just like almost wanting to turn it off. It was so bad. It probably has monster trucks in it. It's really bad. Direct to video, I think sequel. Yeah, so I mean this creeped me out. Chop Top creeped me out, but in like the more intriguing way. Like the first film, I was creeped out because I saw it so young and it freaked me out. This one, I was more like, what the fuck is this? Because I mean, you think of the first one and then you see this and you're like, what? It's like a tonal whiplash. Just goes from here to way over here. But I loved it. It really stuck with me. But I'm more of like an army of darkness type person. I like these tonal whiplashes when they're done with a purpose, like Gremlins 2. When you're kind of like taking a jab at your first movie
Hmm.
and you can't beat it, so let's go completely different. The problem is a lot of the fan base doesn't get that and tend to hate it off the first reaction, like this film. Critics were pretty mean to this. Toby Hooper did not make Canon happy because they did not make money.
Now,
So
didn't he want to make a dark comedy, and Cannon wanted a like full out horror movie, right?
yeah, see, there's two differences of opinion on this. Toby Hooper in the commentary said Canon didn't really. They just watched the film and they're like, okay, we. This was like the last film of the 3 film contract that they had. And Life Force had cost a lot of money and didn't make a lot. And Invaders from Mars didn't make a lot. So none of his movies for canon made a lot. But they loved him. Just fan bases didn't get on top of it. So this one had a budget of $4.5 million and box office at $8 million. Considering Canon was, like bleeding money at this point because they were taking on all these huge projects, that's not good.
Making 4 million isn't enough.
Who knows if they even use $4.5 million because Tobe Hooper was not a money guy. Even though he did produce this, but he actually hired people to take care of the money. And he
Okay, that
said,
usually works out well. Yeah.
creative people usually aren't good with money. So so he didn't make it, but going through the quick facts here, it's directed by Tobe Hooper, written by L.M. Kit Carson. I don't know who that is, but it sounds familiar name, like I've heard someone talk about it. But I'm pretty sure this might have been the guy that Tobe Hooper talked about. He was like an old man who walked around with like a typewriter underneath his arm because they were doing constant rewrites on this movie, not because they thought the script was bad or anything. They were just adding stuff. Like, let's do this. Let's do that.
So it wasn't the historical Kit Carson that's kind of famous in Colorado.
I don't.
This guy's only
think so.
done one movie I've known of other than this, which is Paris, Texas.
Okay.
I did Breathless, American Dreamer, Hurricane Street, Running on Empty, Bullfighter, QC, Perfume.
Oh, I've heard of Perfume. That's about it though. So, and then distributed by Canon Films, of course. Release date August 22nd, 1986. So 12 years after the original. And Tobe Hooper was saying, he's like, no one knew quite who to get the rights from. So when they figured out who to get the rights from, none of production houses would buy this. They didn't want to follow up on an icon like this. They just didn't want to touch it. And then Canon bought it. And Tobe Hooper's like, well, I don't want to direct it because I already did the first one, but I'll produce it and I'll pick someone to direct it. And then he put out all the signals to get a director. And basically, people just kept turning it down left and right because they're like, I don't want to direct the sequel to one of the greatest horror films of all time. They were either afraid that they'd be like typecasted for the rest of their life or they'd just make a terrible movie. And they didn't want it.
The whole time he's like, it's a comedy. It's not a horror movie.
I'm still like, I think you mentioned last time, it's like with that kind of return you got on the last one, like how you just didn't make another sequel just immediately. I guess, like we were talking in 70s Hollywood.
Yeah,
Had some different kind of ethics going on back then. And back
There's
when
a lot-
Hollywood used to do things clean.
There's a lot of movies that the sequel isn't even that movie, like Saw 2. It was another script somebody else brought, and they're like, fuck it, Saw's really good. We're making a sequel.
Just slap Saw on it.
Yeah. Can we put a doll in this? All right,
Like Halloween Season of the Witch, too. Remember? It kind of like just completely veers off from the Michael Myers
Yeah.
storyline.
I mean, that was on purpose, though, because they wanted to make it like just a different movie each time.
Okay.
Because John Carpenter said Michael Myers had run its course. He was wrong.
Give
No,
yourself
I
a little more
agree.
credit.
Yeah.
I really like that movie, but
Oh, yeah.
guess-
I mean, at the beginning, it was received poorly, but over time, people, really caught on to like, that's a really good horror film if you just take Halloween out of the title.
Takes time to digest art.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when you shock the audience so much, it pisses them off. And I think that was the exact thing with this film because now this is like a cult classic, and there are diehard fans that say this is better than the original. Which some people find that blasphemy. Other people are like, yeah, I get it. This is actually the vision he wanted for the first one. And I'm like, well,
that sounds about as legitimate as me saying Highlander 2 is better than the original Highlander.
yeah.
But it is.
Again, some people find that as blasphemy. But I would say well, at least this is a competent movie other than Highlander 2. That was just like
Cocaine!
aliens. It's fucking aliens. It's like, yeah, but this doesn't make any sense. Shut up. Put them in space.
We got hoverboards.
This one was, like at least a vision. And then, they got Tom Savini to do the effects, and they look fantastic. He's having a lot of fun. And apparently Tobe Hooper just told him to go nuts. He's like, yeah, let's go for it. That's why they went nuts. Yeah, let's see here. What else we got here? Starring Dennis Hopper as Lieutenant Boyd Lefty Enright. And
Right.
boy, is he awesome.
You cannot watch a Dennis Hopper movie without drinking a PBR.
Yeah, that's right. What type of beer should I not drink though?
Hold on a sec here. Dennis got some word of advice for that.
What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
That man made Pabst Blue Ribbon $10 billion off that one line. I mean, between my friends and me that from college to now, I bet we spent $20,000 on Pabst Blue Ribbon entirely because of that line. So
What is that from?
That's
Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Oh, never seen Blue Velvet.
Heineken, fuck that shit. It was funny because when Brad texts this, and as soon as I clicked on the link, it all came like roaring back, and I'm like, oh my god, I totally remember yelling that in college. Blacks, fucking Pabst Blue Ribbon, motherfucker. Just a bunch of dumb, Midwest white kids yelling this for no reason, just because we saw it in a movie that our
Just
dad
repeat,
bought.
it was like, this makes me intelligent because I'm repeating something I saw in a movie.
Well, we didn't have TikTok or anything like that. We just repeated movie lines forever.
Oh yeah, I'd
And-
give it to you
yep.
guys, and we would just recite Top Gun from beginning to end, just like on memory.
Oh yeah, we had so many. We had Dumb and Dumber. We did that a lot.
Big gulps, huh?
Yep. Well, see ya. Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people before TikTok and stuff did. We're just like, hey, have you seen this movie? Oh, you know these quotes? You're my friend.
It's like your online dating profile for friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was looking for friends right now on an app, like findfriends.com or whatever, I would just put like movie quotes and the best ones. If we matched, I think I can be friends with them.
Why do you need a knife in a nuke fight?
I mean, who wouldn't want to be friends with that person? Let's see here. Caroline Williams as Stretch, the DJ in this. She does a fantastic job. In fact, sometimes I think she's the one trying the hardest. Dennis Hopper is trying. He's just so damn good that it comes off like he don't give a shit.
I do have problems with Stretch, but I mean, we might get into that later.
All right, good. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. Jim Siedow comes back as the cook. Bill Moseley as Chop Top, just flying off the screen. It's really tough to overshadow Leatherface in a movie, but somehow Bill Moseley finds a way to do it, in my opinion. We got Bill Johnson and Bill Elmore and Tom Morga as Leatherface. So they did like one guy for the close-ups, one guy did the stunts, and then one guy just played him. And I think the Tom Morga guy was the one who did the dance and everything like that. Which I will say is the worst part of this film and kind of the best. Because every time he dances, I'm like, this is awful. What? But anyway, and we got Kurt Everett as Grandpa. I don't think it's the same guy returning. I think this is a new actor. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't ask. I don't know why who am I thinking of? The legend didn't come back to play Leatherface. Gunnar Hansen. I have no idea why. I don't know if they didn't invite him back or they just didn't want. I honestly didn't look it up.
Maybe
think
they
I
just
would've.
thought he's too terrifying.
Maybe.
Like, I don't think he could play it as stupid and funny as they did in this one.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I honestly think he would have been funnier if he was playing it straight, because everyone else was so wacky. Like I feel like Leatherface is the problem in this film. Like he's too like ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't like this version of it.
Yeah.
we get horny Leatherface later on, and it's just
Yeah,
like I was not expecting that.
because
Yeah.
in number one, he's like overwhelmed and anxious, and like when he goes sits down, he's just like, I don't know what's going on. Where are all these people coming from? Like I could see that being in this one.
I know. I find this to be the most fun and fascinating Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I also find it to be one of the worst Leatherfaces. Figure that out. But it's just the way it was because Chop Top and the cook are fascinating in this. I love them. Um, and I love LG. Poor fucking guy. I love LG.
Oh man, yeah.
But I think Leatherface is I mean, Grandpa, I'm not even going to count because he's just kind of there. I think the first Grandpa's a little bit better just because he goes, he makes the little baby like arms because he's so happy. But yeah, I think Leatherface is the worst out of the family in number 2. I don't think he's the worst Leatherface though. I should let me revision this because if we did some of the movies in the future, I think some of the Leatherfaces are just the most boring things on camera. At least this one is interesting, even though I don't like him. But anyway, for future, if we ever get into that, which with this group, I think it would be funny just to see. Brad probably still hasn't seen some of them.
No,
I think
I'm bringing everyone along the journey with me.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm missing some when I was
Well,
looking through the
isn't there like
titles to make
10?
to make sure which one you're watching. And I was like, oh, this one's just called 2.
Didn't they do like 2 prequels?
I did see, yeah, the
Leatherface.
2022 version. I just saw that. My wife and me were at the bar last Friday night, and I saw the intro to it, and I'm like, oh, this looks really good.
It's a beautifully shot
On
film.
the Netflix
Let's see it.
version.
It's beautifully shot. That's the only good thing I can really say about it.
Parts of it are really good. And then other parts are just very not great.
Wow, we're being nice.
It's a phone grabber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, so I got everyone here. Now I do not have the VHS, but I looked up what they are, trailers on them, and they immediately came back to me. Because this was one of these films back in the day that had the trailer for the movie on the movie. But here's the difference. The beginning of the film, you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer. Then you had the movie. And then the movie's over, and then they play the trailer for the movie you just watched. I'm like, I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
That's been on a couple movies
Yeah.
I've seen. That makes
I
no
don't-
sense.
Mm-mm.
Remember that movie you just watched? Here we go.
Yep.
Want to see it again? Yeah,
You want to see a much shorter version of it? Here you go.
the cliff notes to what you just saw. Like you're taking a test later on. Like these are the important points, and like
Little bullet points.
Yeah. Speaking of the trailer of this, we got through the quick facts. So here we go. Let's watch. Okay, here we go.
"13 years ago, audiences across America were horrified by the savagery of a faceless killer. In the wake of this bizarre rampage, he vanished. Now, after more than a decade of silence, he has come out of hiding. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The Buzz is back. Directed by Tobe Hooper.
This beginning is this really sets the tone. These like
yeah,
they're
it's
not
like,
hitchhikers, they're yuppies.
it's like the plot engine is the OU Texas game in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's heading up
skipped it.
there.
There's another scroll.
That's true.
We're into another movie. Every movie we have watched so far has had a scroll.
Chris, you're right. I think we do need to have that in every movie. It's like if you become president, that's like your one piece of legislation you're going to pass.
I mean, anybody can become president nowadays, so
Mm.
we'll try.
Wait, are you referring to one of the greatest of all time?
No, I'm
45.
not referring to anything political, okay? These emails will stop.
No, they won't.
No.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna wear for the next, like, just America shirt, just a giant American flag showing off my patriotism. I'm gonna get a flag.
Wear your veteran shirts.
All right, all my America shirts. All right, 45.
Brad, you gotta have some military shirts, right?
Yeah, I just don't have them like on display right now. So
Brad won't do it because he doesn't want to put up with the shit. I don't know, but I could see it. American flag, some aviators. There you go. Just get those.
He fought for his right.
That's right. He fought for our
Right.
rights. He fought for our rights to be idiots on podcasts.
Toby Keith writes songs about me, so you guys.
They made movies
Specifically.
based on you.
Specifically about you.
That guy was a nightmare to deal with over there.
Oh,
His crew, his entourage was.
okay. You know what? I can't imagine anyone's band's entourage is good because none of those guys go through any sacrifice. They're just like fucking assholes who tag along. Like maybe there's like one turtle out of the group who's actually kind of nice, but the rest probably aren't. Okay, so these yuppies are going down and fucking shooting signs, which is crazy. But they pick a fight with the wrong pickup truck, and
Yeah,
then
they-
that night on a bridge, by the way, that they many times have had to tell people not to stop and take pictures on and everything like that. I don't think the bridge exists anymore, but I could be wrong. But yeah, then we get just what a scene. A Leatherface with a dead body hung over him like a puppet.
They're
I
going
love-
90 miles an hour in reverse, which is like
Yeah,
tremendous.
possible.
These guys, first off, these guys have some tremendous talent, and not only in like making that vehicle go 90 miles an hour in reverse, but also later on when they show their cave and like all the electrical work those guys do. It's like you could be an electrician. Electricians make a ton of money, and you obviously know what you're doing. That could be bringing
Yeah.
in the money.
But they also like to kill people, so it kind of gets in the way.
Yeah,
9
I
to
guess.
5 is kind of tough for them.
Most serial killers have jobs.
That's true, but these aren't real serial killers.
That is a point. That is very valid.
I mean, sure, Leatherface is sort of kind of based off Ed Gein, but yeah.
Dude, I
And-
love Rick the Prick. That is
Well, those
fun.
guys, like those guys are like just having a hell of a time. Like what losers are driving around? And Rick, that guy can shoot, man. He's like just
Yeah.
and
bullseyeing everything.
those
just-
glasses.
Just talking on their car cell phone. Just
There
calling
was
up
two
trash.
people. The cook even had a car phone, and I'm like, what kind of money is this guy making?
Yeah, you know how expensive those were?
1986, your reception was about 10 feet, and this thing's
Yeah.
got like
You had to call someone else with a car phone next to your car is the only way you could get reception. I remember when my older brother got one in the 90s. I want to say like 95, 96. They were awful. Just the most useless phones on earth.
They were so heavy too.
Yeah. Just and like trying to get it off the actual brick was just like ugh. I don't know. I guess the whole point of that thing was to never use it because it was so hard to get off.
even in the early 2000s, even you'd like as soon as you left the city, like city limits, like reception, like
Yeah.
gone.
I mean, it's hard enough to get reception sometimes with your cell phone in 2022 in the woods. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. With Chris's phone.
Moved out to the country a little bit more and I was like, what? Oh shit, should have checked signal first.
Yeah. So, I mean, they get there, he gets his head chopped off and the car wrecks. But, when you see the size of, Leatherface's chainsaw, are there chainsaws this long? That
Mhm.
thing had to be like 6 foot.
Probably for like chopping down big redwoods and stuff
Yeah.
like the professional like lumber guys use. But I was thinking Rick is such a good shot, and I'm like Rick, if he just shoots center mass instead of shooting for the head, movie's over.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's, not a real killer. He's just an idiot who's got money, like Beamer yuppies. So But I mean, Tobe Hooper in the commentary says like, "Well, I killed hippies in the first one, so I just decided to move over to yuppies because that's what was popular then in the '80s, and who doesn't want to kill a yuppie?" And I just thought it was really funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if we were doing it
Ah,
today, who would you sacrifice up? It's like who's the most
we're
annoying?
not going. We're not. I'm
Okay, or
moving on.
It's gotta be TikTokers, right?
And no matter what you
influencers.
say, it's gonna be shitty.
I mean, TikToker, Kardashians. I don't know. People who are on YouTube that think they're cool. Like, just kill them
Yeah,
all.
you can do that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then we get introduced to Lefty, which is just a quote after quote after quote in this. Chris has one that he already used in our text messages.
Oh yeah. I don't remember what it was though.
Speak plainly.
Saves time.
Saves time. I love it when he's in here. This guy's so crazy that he chopped his own head off. Like when he's talking about the wreck.
There's some crazy kids getting in a ring. I love that though. Like you just see a little bit of the blood start,
Yeah.
and then his head just starts to like open, and then from the back, it's that comical toupee.
Oh yeah, and they does
flopping in
this
the
with his
wind.
hands. Like
Ah,
yeah, it was great. I mean, that was and Tobe Hooper said that was like one of the most complicated shots in the movie because not only was it a stunt with a car driving, but it was a prop. And
mhm.
it's someone else's hands like driving in front of that prop. When they shoot the camera from the back, and then they've got a mechanism doing this and everything, animatronic, and I'm like, that's how does the stuntman see? That's exactly what I thought because I would love to see how they did that.
Just
But
that Halloween costume where you got the little black dots you can see through.
oh, I'm pretty
The
sure his
mesh.
head was like in his gut or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Just-
how they did it, but
Hats
that's
off to those guys. They stuntmen are incredible.
well, yeah, and I also wonder because that's a real truck going in reverse, how fast they were actually shooting this at, like 10 miles an hour, and then they sped up the camera in the back or something. I don't know.
It didn't look
Uh,
sped up.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, hats off to them. When you get Tom Savini, and they obviously had some really good, stuntmen and everything working on it because it's a fantastic shot. Even though it's goofy as fuck, it's fantastic.
Mhm.
So fantastic. I loved it. I loved the beginning of this and introduced the lefties fun. And then, on the call where they get their head cut off, they're talking to I just wow,
Stretch?
Stretch. And I guess back then you couldn't hang up on someone.
Or they couldn't. It doesn't mean it was other places. It's some tiny town in Texas.
I guess they just don't have a hang up button.
Wasn't invented yet.
I don't get how that works, but she did record it and then contacts, finds Lefty and says, you want proof? I got a tape recording of it. He basically kicks her out. But he was talking about, Tobe Hooper was talking about how Dennis Hopper got ready for that scene because he's all sweaty. And there's a backstory where he's been drinking tequila all night and he's like an alcoholic now. Because what we forget to tell you is he's the uncle, I believe, of Sally and Franklin
Yeah.
from the
I-
first one.
Oh, I thought he was friends of their dad. So it might be uncle, but not like related uncle is what I thought. But
No, well, maybe that could be it. But he's become like a hardcore alcoholic and he's been hunting them for years now and chasing down all these deaths because he knows they've moved from their original spot, but he doesn't know where. Turns out that it was closer to Austin, I guess. I don't know if this film actually ever says takes place in Austin, but it kind of seems like it could be around
Well,
there.
the sheriff says something about the football game's gonna drive more people into town. So
That would
Yeah.
be Dallas then, because they played that
Dallas,
game
yeah.
in Dallas. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what-
okay. So this must be outside of Dallas or something like that. I bet they probably have something in the chili cook-off that they probably show where they're at. But yeah, you're right. The bowl game. What was it? Was it the Cotton Bowl?
No, they play it used to be called the Red River Shootout or something, but now it's the Red River. It's OU Texas every year. They play at the Texas State Fair in Dallas.
No, okay.
Most
guess-
years.
Good thing you know sports.
And this is the same year OU actually won this game 47-12, and then later
Oh
on
my
that year,
lord.
then later on that year, Oklahoma cheated and beat Nebraska 20-17.
Oh, this all goes back to Nebraska. There we go. Well, Mizzou lost a heartbreaker this weekend, 17-14, and I didn't watch the game. So when someone asked me about it, I'm like, yeah, it was rough. It was a rough loss. Just gonna pretend that I actually still watch that. Okay, all right, there you go. It worked too. They didn't ask me anything. Yeah. I don't watch Mizzou football. I'm sorry, people. I don't know. Yeah, then we get the great chili cook-off, where we get introduced to the cook again, and he's just as fantastic. Actually, he might be better in this one than he is in the first one.
They gave him more. We
Yeah.
get his name this time.
Yeah, I forgot what it was though.
Drayton Sawyer.
Drayton
Mhm.
Sawyer. Yeah.
And he likes meats. He lets you know that right away. Like, give me all the meat.
It's all about
Yeah.
the meat.
And that woman was flirting with him, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Drayton, what's your secret? Don't skip on the meats.
I love that. That's when I remembered I seen this movie. Is like when he came out, and I was like, I fucking remember that.
God, what if Arby's got their slogan from this? And it's like, it was just kind of sitting in the backlog for a while. And then it's like,
I can imagine Arby's just sloshing Arby's sauce and horseradish everywhere, and don't forget the meats.
Don't you skip on the meats.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great in this. And then the chainsaw store, which is always that's one of the most iconic parts of this that I think about, where because I've heard the backstory where Tobe Hooper sent people out and he's like, oh, are we gonna have to create a chainsaw store or something like that? And one of the people who found it, like the scout locators, is like, you got to see this chainsaw store. I mean, this is we might not have to do it. He walked right in. He goes, I'm shooting right here. This is it. I'm done. Because now he doesn't know, but he's like, I'm pretty sure that log out front was real for people really to test the chainsaws, and this was just a hometown chainsaw store, which he goes, they have those in Texas, and but he can't confirm that because when he was talking, he's like, that could have been someone from our set that did that, but I like to. He
Dude,
kind of
that's-
sounded like he was really hoping that was always there.
I love that when he just goes to town and the store owner's like back there like nutting, like, oh yeah,
I love how he
put that log up.
He just shows up and lays down a wad of cash, doesn't say anything,
No.
grabs three chainsaws and goes out there and just goes wild.
Where the hell did he get the holsters for the chainsaws?
Where'd he get the money?
It's like 10 grand for 3 chainsaws.
And that actor was from Austin. They found him in a theater and just said he was amazing. I'm like, yeah, we know, we saw.
Oh, the store owner?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not the real store. That's just
I
someone they
love it,
found
though.
from a theater there in Austin. And I mean, that's where they got most of these extras. They're just people from Austin. So, and then we get one of the best, like just appearances, like first appearances of a character. I think he's the most iconic one from this movie. You get Chop Top. Dog's gonna hunt.
But how'd they? Okay, so they listen to that station all the time. How did they relay what that station was doing in real time to their uncle? This is analog. You can't go back and stream it. You can't rewind it.
Well, I mean, they told him to turn on the radio.
Yeah, they
And she
called him
was-
on his car phone.
Yeah, they called him on the car phone. Which could you imagine that? Can you turn on? You got they're playing up.
But when he
they're playing us on the
turns-
radio.
he goes to the side of the road, dude, he fucking turns that whole food truck sideways, like to a skidding stop. And I was like,
Yeah.
that thing would have went flying.
Yeah, especially if it's full of chili in the back.
Human chili everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, there's probably dead bodies in the back of that thing.
I mean, you got
At
a
least
foot
one.
in my hand chili.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when she takes a bite out and gets a bone and goes, "That's just a hard peppercorn."
I didn't like this movie very much, but God, it would have been so much better with people. Because
Yeah.
this is a lot better than watching it.
I think it's a crowd pleaser type film, definitely. And then Chop Top just like basically line after line. It's like, this is one of my favorites, especially like that last one you played. He's so sadistic in this.
He's menacing. Yeah, that dude
Yeah.
is menacing, and it's like, who played his? Who was that role again? He's kind of
That's
a
Bill
horror icon.
Moseley.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Thousand of a Thousand Corpse is probably what he's best known for, also, where he's kind of the preacher guy, and Devil's Reject. Well,
Mhm.
he's just preaching, conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, I'm sure he's pretty popular, yeah, when it comes to certain people. I wouldn't be surprised if I heard some of these, like side country music folk who are like playing Bill Moseley from Devil's Rejects. It's just the audio entry.
Yeah, he's the brother, isn't he? The Devil's Rejects?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It's I mean, there is a lot of good in Devil's Rejects. There's a lot of ridiculous.
I love the Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, were you a big fan of the House of a Thousand Corpse? Like the whole.
I liked it, but
Yeah.
the Devil's Rejects was
It's
fucking
far
hit, man.
superior, but
Yeah.
in my mind. But House of a Thousand Corpse had a lot of stuff that you could see, like they might have something here.
Yeah,
I mean, Captain Spaulding is
great character.
yeah.
Now, wasn't one of those like the on record for having the most profanities like per minute of any movie like
Probably.
ever made?
I bet.
Wouldn't surprise
Tutti
me.
fucking fruity. Tutti fucking fruity.
Well, and then like going back to this film, Leatherface busts out, and he's got a pretty good entrance in this one and everything like that. But then he starts humping Stretch with the chainsaw, and I was definitely like,
But this is where I don't like Stretch. Is she starts
Okay.
repeating herself like Franklin. He's
Oh,
like,
okay.
Sally, Sally, Sally. And he's fucking annoying. And then Stretch is doing it. You're good. You good. You're good. You're good. And then she does it multiple times after this. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
were they trying to just copy Franklin in it?
They might have been. Who knows? I mean, from the commentary, all Tobe Hooper was saying was he's like, well, he was trying to portray that Leatherface was really confused about his feelings, because he doesn't really know who or what he is. He's just kind of going through life moment to moment, and that's why he was always wearing the different mask in the first one, where he's pretending to be the mom at the dinner scene, and then
Yeah.
other
Was he wearing
ones.
Franklin in
Yeah.
this one?
I actually don't know who the mask is supposed to be, but that would be pretty good if he was wearing Franklin's mask in this.
Yeah, because it's the Blues Brothers setup in this one, but
Interesting. And right before that, I remember LG's trying to get on Stretch there a little bit. He's like laying it on pretty hard. She's like, "Not a chance, my man." Like,
it just
you
pushes
go.
him out.
Yeah. And then I have a question too of when I took a note during this section of the film. Like, this is Texas, right?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Why does she not have a gun?
I mean, not everyone in Texas has a gun, but I get
I'm
your
sure there's
point.
one in the building.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, LG looks like a guy who carries a gun, like loaded in his pickup truck.
I like him. He's
Yeah.
a good character. But just spitting all over the floor.
Yeah, there's a story of why he did that, because people have always asked Tobe Hooper, why did you make him like spitting up those nasty loogies? And he said, well, one, the actor who played LJ was not in the first film, but like helped create the first film and everything like that, and then transitioned to an actor from behind the camera to an actor to this. So he's like, well, I wanted him to have a role, and when he tried out, he's like, oh, you'll be perfect as the LJ or LG. And he's like, but I got to give you specific characteristics. And one of them was to spit, because he knew later in the film he'd have his face ripped off, and he was afraid people wouldn't know who he was.
Oh,
okay. Give him that characteristic that you can identify him by. Okay.
Not the tattoo that says the LG.
Well, that was the second part of it. Andy gave him the tattoo that said his name.
Okay.
But he was also afraid people wouldn't read. And I was like, I can relate to
fair.
that.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
It was more than 2 letters.
Yeah, I think it was on his back, or was it on his arm?
It's on his arm.
It's on his arm, yeah.
I think I missed it in the movie, so yeah, good thing they.
Well, that's because you were, too fascinated with the chainsaw dick. You're like, oh yeah, give it to her.
Leatherface is like, he's getting into it.
Oh yeah, and then they beat the shit. Man, Chop Top beats the shit out of LG, and then somehow LG is still alive and gets his face ripped off later in the film, and still is alive.
Missing part of his stomach, his lungs are exposed.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough dude to kill. I mean, It's that right there is a real American hero.
Sorry, Brad.
Tell you, yeah, I tell you what. And then when they leave, like maybe she should call the cops and be like, "Hey, go get after these guys. They have a pickup that's blue and it has an American flag tailgate, and they just murdered this guy.
Yeah.
They threw him in the tailgate." It's like instead, no, she goes and chases after him.
And then Lefty like follows her, right?
That truck
Yeah.
is sweet, though.
Yeah, it's a
I would
pretty.
love to
yeah.
have that.
I don't know how they afford that truck, by the way, but I guess they make a lot of money off chili because they bought like a broke down theme park.
They steal people. When they,
It's probably not their truck. They probably stole.
if
the
I
Enright.
murdered tons of people, all their possessions are now mine that they had on them.
Yeah. But I mean, you'd also have to know a lot of pawn shop owners, right? To be selling that stuff, make some
You
money.
just find one shady guy that doesn't care.
Yep. And then he just moves it somewhere else because he probably doesn't want to keep the evidence. But
You should listen to Drayton talk. He's always talking about we're losing money because of you, dick shit, motherfuckers. And
I love how some of the insults nobody should repeat, but good lord, they are great, and they just come.
doesn't he call him a dog shit motherfucker a couple times, or is that Chop
Oh.
Top? You dog shit. And I used to, oh man, I must have got so annoying because sometimes when I was drunk, I'd be like, "Dog will hunt," and no one knows what I'm talking about.
It reminds me of the movie Gummo.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, it's on VHS, so
All right. Oh yeah, and then we get introduced when Stretch falls through the hole, which is kind of comical, and then we get introduced to this
Yeah.
ridiculous carnival.
I just don't get it. He's like, I used you. Why? You could have used her while sitting inside with all your chainsaws or guns.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have those. Like, why do you have to risk her just getting cut up to find them?
I can tell you why. Bubba's got a girlfriend. Bubba's got a girlfriend.
He gives her the skeleton hand. He's like, take my strong hand.
He's even creepy too, Chop Top, when he's like, Bubba's got a girlfriend. Like,
He's just creepy.
Yeah. And then scraping his head. Oh, this is
I-
something Tobe Hooper said that like I had no idea. And now that I've watched it, I don't think I can see it the same. But he was sitting there, heating up the coat
Yeah.
hanger and scraping off a piece of that
the skin on his plate.
skin, the like rash and whatever. And
You
when
dented my plate.
and when he was eating it, it was like euphoric. It was a sexual thing. He was getting off every time he ate some of it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see that scene totally different now.
Okay, yeah, that's another level of grossness to that scene.
I know. I just thought he just was fucking weird and eating his own scabs. But now he's getting off doing it? Fuck, Toby. You're fucked up. Like the calmest sounding director ever. But
This is real funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right there, he's getting off. Hilarious.
Well, and then they kind of redo the dinner scene, and I don't quite understand why they do this. Because it's just Grandpa trying to kill the girl again. He's one of the best. Grandpa's the best. But he gets some better wax on her this time. But still, I don't quite understand it, but I don't really care because once they get into the old chainsaw fight,
Oh, yeah.
spectacular.
I just hope this time the hammer's fake.
Wait, was it real in the first one?
There's no way it wasn't.
Holy
In
shit.
73, just buying a low budget movie, buying fake hammers
Yeah,
to
probably.
hit people. No, it was probably real. That's why he didn't hit her with it.
That's actually a good point. This one's probably rubber and they don't mind, taking a little
Yeah.
dent out. Oh, that's bad. I hope. Oh, I'm sure rubber mallets, let's just pretend they existed in 1973,
I mean,
74.
I have some, but they would still hurt. Didn't hit me.
Oh, yeah. I've felt a rubber mallet. That shit hurts. There's no
Mhm.
doubt about it. But, they get the whole chainsaw fight and he stabs Leatherface through the gut. Kind of surprised. I mean, he really wanted to end the whole series with this because he kills everyone.
Mhm.
Kills
I love it.
Leatherface.
I love
what's
the
his-
cook.
Yeah.
He finds the hitchhiker's satchel.
Mhm.
That's when I was like,
Yeah.
I thought Chop Top was Hitchhiker, but then he finds his pouch and he digs
And
through
remember-
and pulls out the grenade.
Was it at this point where Dennis Hopper encounters his old nephew? Like, in the
Mhm.
Oh
wheelchair with his
yeah,
like
yeah.
skull kind of half
Mhm.
chopped in half and
Yeah,
stuff.
we
And
skipped that. He's like, I'm gonna take it down. Just starts cutting all
oh
the
yeah,
support beams.
I'm bringing it all down to hell.
Yeah, he kicks open that wall and all the entrails come out.
When I think the hitchhiker was actually at the dinner table, that's why the satchel had the grenade in it. So
And the
Franklin
Oh,
was
because he
there.
pulled him under with them.
Yeah. And you know what? The more I think about it, you might be right that that's Franklin's face.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because that would be pretty fucked up. Because it was just a skeleton of Franklin, right?
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah, and so they probably just ripped the face off and let it deteriorate. I've always wondered, like with these bones, I guess they just throw them above the wall. Like they throw them behind the wall and just let them deteriorate.
Or they make nice little art pieces with
They
them.
do make art pieces. You know what?
So
Brad, you were right. You were saying they're great electricians. Chris also brings up a point that they're probably artists. These are some talented psychos.
They could work on engines too. They can trick out a freaking pickup truck to go 90 miles an hour in reverse. I mean, these dudes are like genius level engineering intellect here. If it wasn't like today, they'd be like tech entrepreneurs, probably like
but I mean,
like
what else
start.
are they doing? They're
They'd have
just
some
killing
start.
people, cooking. They got plenty of time to learn new skills.
They'd have some startup going right now. Like
Yeah, and they got an award-winning business too with the Cook's Chili, where you don't skip on the mates. I mean, but still, the cook pulls out after getting nailed in the nut sack with a chainsaw.
I took care of my Hemis.
And then he's just like, well, it's over. Blows, Lefty, Leatherface, and him up with that grenade.
The
Then,
biggest grenade I've ever seen.
yeah, that was a huge explosion.
The Lefty's probably the most incompetent Texas Ranger in history of Texas Rangers.
I mean, he goes in with no backup.
No
He
gun.
has no gun. He's got 3 chainsaws.
That's all you need.
Chuck Norris would be very disappointed.
Well, Chuck Norris would have kicked the chainsaw through, Leatherface like 12 feet away. That's actually not a fair fight. Yeah, and then we get Chop Top is chasing Stretch away and cutting her up from the back, just like the hitchhiker did in the first one. So he's definitely repeating a lot of the same beats in this one, except at the end when she runs into the grandma and they have their little fight. I I don't quite know what they're trying to say here. Are they trying to say because Stretch kills Chop Top, then takes the chainsaw, and she's going to be the next?
I don't know, but I love that. And she just starts doing the dance.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to explore.
Because I don't think I've seen 3. I've seen Next Generation. Is that 3 or 4?
Oh, Next Generation's 4.
Yeah, I don't remember 3 at all. So I'm like, ooh,
No one remembers 3. It's one of the most boring ones. So come
oh,
back next
great.
week when we do number 3.
Great.
So when New Line took it over and they were trying to buy up all their franchises. I love New Line, but they just
There's a lot of movies I love that are on New Lines.
yeah, I mean The Mask and the Dumb and Dumber. There's so many, but that was definitely one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, where you're like, I don't think you knew what you're doing with this, but that's fine. It's got some interesting stuff in it, so we'll have something to talk about. Yeah, so she escapes. We end it abruptly, just like they did with the first one, which I liked. And then there you go. So, any more to say about this, Brad and Chris?
Set designs are nightmare fuel.
It was missing a clown in there somewhere, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't like that'd be unfair.
Just a dead clown.
That'd be unfair. You can't just put clowns in movies. You gotta warn us.
You got to put it in the title or something. I got to know what I'm getting into.
Give a trigger warning for it.
What's that movie? Like Poltergeist is a movie where they do that, where it's like all scary. It's a good movie, scary as hell. Then all of a sudden they just drop a clown in there, and it's like, oh, you just did that. Oh,
And that clown is fucking weird. That one's no joke. All right. I guess we're ready to go on to the recommendations. Brad, I think I chose you first. So, Chris, do you recommend Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2?
I would have said no, but then talking about it made me realize it's fun not by yourself at noon. Like,
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure watching it with other people it's a blast. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Just watch it with other people.
so your girlfriend didn't watch this one with you?
And she was at work. She did
Mm.
watch Texas Chainsaw though. She liked it. Never seen it before.
Oh, okay. That's good.
She thought it was good.
Brad, how about you? Do you
Yeah, I didn't.
recommend?
I watched it last night and I did not enjoy it. Like
Uh-huh.
just in the solitude of the void down here. But yeah, like just like Chris said, talking about it, like when you're with friends watching this movie at a party or something like that, I think it's really enjoyable
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
I
it's so
love it.
crazy.
Yeah, the lines aren't as funny when you're just sitting there with your
Yeah.
like petting your dog, taking notes, but like talking about them. I'm like, oh yeah, that is fucking hilarious, actually.
Yeah, I love it. I really liked it by myself, but it got much better with people. And then talking to people about it, you kind of get what Tobe Hooper's going for, which is a tonal whiplash, chaos. It's everything. He just went all out because he really thought this would be the last one and people would come and see it and kind of understand what he was going for. They didn't. They barely saw it. It became incredibly popular though in home video. And that's kind of what happens with these. And then I think Canon, they ended up folding, and then somehow New Line got the rights for this, and I think that came out somewhere in the early '90s. So, yep, that's what we'll move on to next is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Well, actually, I think it's called Leatherface: The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
That's what I was looking up when I was looking up the titles. I was like,
Mhm.
some of these aren't in order.
Yep. And then it gets more confusing because later on in this franchise, I think they call one of the movies Leatherface.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Yeah.
There was two Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2s. It's like,
It's
is there a
Uh,
difference?
fucking yeah. I mean, this franchise just is wacky. I mean, I don't think it ever gets anywhere near as close as the first one in any of these. Some of them have some interesting ideas, but we'll talk about the first four. So let's go on to the museum. This is the part of the show where we go out in the film jungle like Indy and bring something back to our Texas Chainsaw Massacre wing of the museum. Last week we had some good entries. So I'm gonna go first. I'm just gonna steal Chop Top. Sorry, that's what I'm gonna do. I just want that crazy son of a bitch. Dog will hunt. Love him. Bubba's got a
Scratching his head.
girlfriend. Bubba's got a girlfriend.
'Cause I was gonna go with the scratch in his head. That I love that. Just a little lighter, and then he's like,
It's gross. Chris, go ahead and go.
I'll go with the trophy. It's just for some reason I thought it kept overflowing with chili. Like just as he's sitting there talking, it's just like spewing out the top the whole time. And I was like, the chili is people.
I gotta.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I gotta
Brad.
go with. I gotta go with when they're down in the bowels of the amusement park where it's like Dennis Hopper like. It's the devil's playground. I'm bringing it all down to hell.
There's some good quotes in movies that are crazy like this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of metal bands will do like movie quotes right before the breakdown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like crazy movies like this just have one-liners everywhere.
Yeah. I feel like metal bands and punk bands like
Yeah.
do such a good job with audio
Mhm.
clips for movies. They're just
Yeah.
awesome. That'll end it this week. So what did we watch? I'm trying to think. I actually had some. Oh, I watched Andor. The
How
first
is that?
3 episodes, and I really enjoy it. If you like Rogue One, you'll like the visuals on it and kind of the like darker, more serious tone of Star Wars, where he's kind of becoming a rebel hero in a way. But
Uh,
it's not like he was going out of his way for this.
who's it about?
It's Andor,
Is
the character from Rogue One.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you get to see him beginning, how he's adopted and the accident that happened at the beginning of his life, why he got adopted. And, basically, it's just like I'm trying to make money to get my family or try to get off this planet, and then shit goes wild, shit goes sideways.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, don't spoil that. I'm not watching that until it's all out because
Yeah, I'm
a
not.
friend of
Yeah.
mine. I have a friend here in Omaha that I've spoiled like the last couple Star Wars series where I'm like, texting him like, "Do you see Baby Yoda with Luke Skywalker?" He's like, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm waiting until they're all done." It's like, "Thanks for spoiling it for me." And it's like, okay, so I'm not going to give myself that chance this time.
Yes.
So I'm gonna watch all of it and just text you everything. Oh yeah, it does suck when people spoil stuff, doesn't it?
I mean, you're not playing as dangerous game because you don't have Facebook or any type of social media, so you've got a shot, but it's still dangerous because it's Star Wars and people like to chat.
They're already bitching about it.
I did bitch. Well, that's
I
fine.
mean, fucking Star Wars fans are going to bitch about
Yeah.
everything. It's just like,
I love Star Wars. It's garbage at the same time, but I watch everything and I eat it up.
Yeah, see, this is like a little bit more of adult Star Wars that they're trying here with some pretty accomplished actors doing some meaty roles. I've liked it so far. I like, every once in a while, like I didn't. Book of Boba Fett had its moments that are really good, and then it's got its other moments where you're like,
It's dog water. You're just like, ugh.
yeah, it's just like some of it's really bad, and then some of it. But what's mostly good about the Book of Boba Fett is the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I just wanted more Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it was kind of like Mandalorian season 2.5, really.
yeah, it
Mhm.
gets like the last couple episodes, and they're like, and they dedicate an entire episode to the Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett. That's
Yeah, and the beginning's one of the coolest parts of the Book of Boba Fett when he goes into the slaughterhouse.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
that's one of the coolest scenes in the entire thing.
yeah. So it's like, yeah. I mean, Book of Boba Fett probably could, if you had actually just concentrated on him, on Boba Fett, you probably could have done it in 3 episodes, maybe 4. There's a lot of shit in there you could have just taken out.
I mean, it's only like what 6
It's
episodes.
6
anyway,
episodes,
6.
but it shouldn't even have been 6 episodes because
No.
1.5 is Mandalorian.
Mhm.
So it's like, and then I love how they tie him in. They're like, "Hey, Mando, you want to help me? Cool, let's go kill some people, some stuff." But at least that last episode was good. Anyway,
Mhm.
you guys got anything?
Oh, what I watched. I watched like other documentaries like The Way Down, which is a good documentary.
Oh, what's that one
It's
about?
about the Revenant Church. They're like an anorexia church.
What?
Yeah. And then but nerdy wise, I watched Sandman. That was really good. I liked it.
Sandman. What is that? That sounds.
The Neil Gaiman graphic novel
Oh,
on Netflix. Last episode's fucking weird, but it's like an add-on apparently because I'm so far behind on shit.
yeah.
But I watched all of it back to back, which is good.
Hmm.
First 10 episodes are great, and then that last one, you're like, what the fuck? But it's really good too.
All right, Brad. How about you?
Besides the other things I've been watching, there's this show on Netflix called Love, Death, Robots.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
how
yeah.
is that?
It's good. They're all short.
Have you watched any season before this?
I just watched them all at once, so I
Yeah.
hadn't seen season 1 or 2 before season 3 came out, and they're all kind of different, little anywhere from like, I don't know, 9 minutes to 20 minutes long, and
Hmm.
very interesting, all very good. Yeah,
Well, and they're all totally different styles, right?
yeah, they're all
Yeah.
kind of anthology
Some of
ish.
them are really, really good, and then some are like, blah. But again, the ones I don't like, you guys might really like.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
just,
that's anthologies though as a
yeah.
whole. So
I think overall, though, it's really good.
yeah, it's totally different. Like each one's a different medium or something like that, and different directors and everything, right? Think so?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good idea by Netflix. So I'll have to check that out and actually give them my attention.
Like the farmer one's really good. I like that one.
yeah.
Right.
And then the hotel where they see a murder across the way. That one's really good.
Well, I hope it's better than the 2 episodes of the American Horror Story anthology that my coworker loves to watch. If Bill's out there listening, yeah, I watched 2 episodes because he was making fun of it hardcore, and I had to watch him. And I'm like, they kind of are repeating things I've seen in other anthologies, mostly Tales from the Crypt. And I'm like, this is just a template from the 90s.
Is it a new season of American Horror Stories?
It's not the American Horror Story. There's like this is different. This is like American Horror Stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like each week is a different, anthology type horror story. And yeah, they're just like things and maybe it's because we've seen so many anthology type films. Like the first one I watched, I'm like, I've seen this. This is from like season 3 of Tales from the Crypt. And I'm like, if you're gonna cheat from the best. But I was like, yeah, I've totally seen this. And which was funny because his fiance loved it. And he was like, I knew I saw something like this. I was like, that's why I wanted you to watch it. And I'm like, yeah, it's Tales from the Crypt season 3. I don't know what episode, but I remember it. So and then the second one was so bad I had to fast forward through parts of it because I kind of just knew what was going to happen. And I swear to God, the exact same like twist ending. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, come on. I mean, the rest might be good. So if there's fans out there, maybe it gets better. But the 2 episodes I saw were pretty bad. But I don't think they care. I mean, because that American Horror Story is like what, season 11, 12? Like it just keeps going.
I think they're only like 7. They're supposed to do like 8 seasons total or something.
No, they've got to be farther along than that, right?
It's supposed to be like the layers of hell where each season.
No, they're on season 12 already.
I'm not that smart. Are they on 12? Because I've seen them all.
No, they're on 13. They're on season 13.
You're fucking lying.
Season
Maybe
13?
that was the original plan, and then they just
well,
made
let's
too much
see.
money.
Maybe they just IMDb fucked up because there's
There's
definitely
no
a
way
season.
there's 13. I've seen all of them.
Oh, I'm totally confused because maybe there isn't. There's definitely 11 because I've got actual episodes for season 11. But season 12 and season 13 on IMDb have nothing.
Oh, I have season 10. That's the double features, the only as far as I'm seeing it, but whatever, dude. I ain't that smart.
My internet's telling me it's like at least 11 seasons. No,
Or maybe it is.
yeah,
'cause
New York City's 2022. Yeah, we're starting in 2011 all the way through 2022. Future seasons. So
Yeah,
we're
so
11.
I mean, it's
Jesus.
popular. It's a very popular show. It's kind of like
Some
The
of it-
Walking Dead. It just keeps going.
some of it's good, some of it's awful.
Oh yeah, I actually stopped watching. I think after season 4, which was like the freak show,
Mhm.
something like
Yeah.
that. Or no,
yeah.
wait. Maybe there was like one with a mental institution too. I think
Yeah,
I watched.
I thought that one was terrible, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it was hard to get through. I think that's what killed it for me. I was like, I'm done with this.
The killer's really cool.
Yeah,
Like the dude
I
with his
just-
face all messed up. I
It
can't
just
remember
was
his
so
name, but-
slow and so like, ugh. Anyway, all right, that'll end it this week. Thanks for coming on, guys. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip over. Right, I got both yours in there.
Uh-huh.
The way you're laughing is like it skipped over one of you.
Yeah.
Or is it my abrupt fuck talking about American Horror Stories?
And moving on.
So remember to be kind. And 1, 2,
And
3.
Rewind.
Whoa!
It's as good as we're ever going to get it. So